Welcome to Encore. Paris's Haute Couture Week is wrapping up, which is why today it's a special show dedicated to all the latest designs. We're bringing you the cream of the catwalk shows, the hottest up-and-coming talent with young Paris-based designer Yiqing Yin, and we're finding out why fashion history is back with a vengeance this season. So thanks very much for joining us for the show. Welcome also to our fashion critic, Jessica Michault.
Hi, great to be here.
Nice to have you with us. And of course, welcome to our guest, Yiqing Yin.
Hello.
Very nice to see you. Now, this is, of course, the week when fashion houses get to show off their most elaborate, finest, and of course, most expensive designs. Yiqing Yin, what does Haute Couture Week mean to you?
To me, it's a platform for expression with no conditions or reserves. So basically, I see couture as a laboratory where I get to experiment and tell a story and share an emotion.
And how long do you take in preparing for an Haute Couture Week?
Basically, it's the final result of 6 months of really hard work.
Wow, 6 months. And it all comes down to one show.
Exactly, that last 10 minutes.
Exactly. Well, we'll come back to speak to you about your own designs in just a couple of minutes. We'll just move on to Jessica now, though. You've been running around to all of the shows, as usual. Tell us about some of your favourite moments that you've seen at this Haute Couture Week.
Well, I have to say what's been really exciting is this this departure from the theatrics a bit of haute couture, something that seems to be real world couture. And one of the places that we saw that was at Chanel, where Karl Lagerfeld kind of took the models off the pedestal. You see them hopping down the catwalk and the staircases because they're actually wearing sneakers instead of high heels, and it gave a youthful freshness to the collection that was quite unexpected. And then of course you're also seeing that kind of hourglass shape with the corseted waist there, and that also had a youthful, you know, young and vibrant feel to it. So that was quite an unexpected touch, and it was also this kind of new and vibrant and real kind of couture that we saw at Dior as well, where designer Raf Simons did something that had clothing that had a lot of movement to it, a lot of lightness and freshness to it, something that felt completely modern, nothing that felt like it had been touched by history. It all felt like something unique and of this time and not referential to anything in the past. This is the first time that we didn't see him touching on the past of the house and really making it his own.
Yeah, they look like outfits that one might actually wear in real life, which isn't always the case for couture, is
Absolutely.
it? Yiqing, might you put your models in trainers, flat shoes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's a cool styling movement, and it really gives attitude, and you can imagine yourself as a woman more easily in those clothes. And I think that the couture clientele now has changed a lot. And for me, for my clients, they are very young girls often, so they like to be cool, and they're real women living, and they need to be able to live and breathe in their garments.
And run for the metro sometimes as well, of course.
Not in couture, but yeah.
Maybe. We'll move on now to a man who likes to play with the naughty side of things, even with his haute couture, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Now, this season, he seems to have a playfully sexy image in mind.
Butterflies in the daytime and butterflies at night. Flitting and flirting around seems to be all the rage right now. Some do it wearing a helmet on a moped. We can flit about in lots of different ways, so if you like, these are different versions of flitting butterflies.
Of course, Jean-Paul Gaultier touched on a theme that we saw a lot of here at Haute Couture Week, which were butterflies. We saw it at Valentino, Alexis Mabi, and we also saw the cousin of the butterfly on your catwalk as well, the moth. So that was really quite interesting to see that.
Very natural. Okay, well, we've been talking about how haute couture differs from other areas of design. Another major designer, Giorgio Armani, has admitted this week that creating consumes his attention, and that to him, haute couture is high art.
Creating is part of my life. I don't have many interests apart from that because I don't have the time to think about other areas. I think there are pieces that should be put in frames and hung on the wall. I'm not talking about my own creations. That would be too ambitious. But what's sure is that throughout the history of haute couture, there have been some astounding pieces.
Genuinely outstanding. So much for the old guard, though. Let's move on to the future, meaning you, Yiqing Yin. Now, you came to France from China with your family, aged just 4, studied at the National School of Decorative Arts, and since 2011, you've been a regular at Haute Couture Week, and French Vogue actually named you as one of their top rising star designers, so amazing rise to fame there. Looking at your designs that we can see on the screen now, they're quite sort of sculptural to me. What's your design philosophy?
Yeah, absolutely. I started designing garments when I really fell in love with the fabric. It was an encounter, and every design is a first encounter with the fabric. And I've kept that very sculptural approach because it allows me a lot of freedom in the way I drape, in the way I create the shapes, in the way I create the textures too. And it's like a sensuous wandering. We don't really know where the design is going to end, and couture gives me that possibility and that exercise which I love to make.
Well, talking about that choice, I find it quite interesting. Most young designers will go into ready-to-wear, but you chose to go straight into, you know, the summum of fashion, which is haute couture. Why did you make that decision?
Well, actually, creating garment fashion is just a support for me to express an emotion, to share a narrative. So therefore, you know, I loved how do you say it? Working with different mediums. Just the sculpture is, the base of the sculpture is the human body living and breathing, which makes it a lot more interesting. And that's how I view this, this exercise. And again, it's a laboratory for me.
And what about, how difficult was it for you to get into haute couture? I mean, it's quite of I mean, you're a guest of haute couture, but it's a very closed and close-knit organization. I mean, how hard was it to break in?
Actually, I just did one show on the off calendar, after which the Fédération invited me to become a guest member, and I was lucky to be parrainée by Ralph Toledano. And since then, I've been showing every season in couture. I think I'm very lucky, and there are not so many places in that calendar.
I'm certainly jealous of your life, even though I'm sure it's very hard work.
It is hard work.
Well, Jessica, just enlighten us briefly about what the official haute couture label is, and one of the latest people to get it.
Well, what it is actually, if you would think about it, it's kind of like champagne. You know, to have the actual appellation of haute couture, it's an honor, and it's a way to protect the heritage of France. It's a real part of the DNA of the French culture, and it's a way that, just like with champagne, that we're protecting the finest of design in the fashion industry. And this year in December, we had a new member anointed by the Fédération, and that's Bouchra Jarrar, and she is quite a powerhouse, really a woman who believes in haute couture for the real world. And it's interesting to note that she is the first woman in 30 years to have this appellation.
Interesting stuff indeed. Bit of an insight that not many people probably know about there, Jessica. Let's not forget, of course, the long history of fashion in this lovely city of Paris. This week saw the return to haute couture of the House of Schiaparelli. Now, this was founded by Coco Chanel's fierce rival, Elsa Schiaparelli. Jessica, was it a successful return in your eyes?
It was an interesting return in my eyes. It was Marco Zanini who took it over, he coming from Rochas. It was a lot of individual pieces, not one collection that kind of flowed from one to the other. It was a lot of touching on the history. I'll be interested to see what his sophomore collection looks like, but it was a good, bold start.
There's some interesting hair going on as well. I'm very excited about that. We also had the return of another renowned couture house, Vionnet. This is considered demi-couture. What does that mean, and did you like it?
Okay, well, the difference there, it's Hussein Chalayan has come over to do just the demi-couture. The difference is that there's not so much construction, not so many fittings with the client. So that's what the demi is about. The beginning of the show was quite strong, quite beautiful, bias cuts, lots of pleating. The end needed a little more work, if I can be so bold.
Very interesting. Well, you have been to pretty much all the shows, so your opinion has a lot of weight with us. Yiqing, how much does this weight of Paris's haute couture history kind of weigh on you or come into your work? How much do you think about it?
I think you have to know it, and I think you have to learn it in order to challenge it and to alter it. And one of the things that I love to do is to break the boundaries of the heritage. To take the knowledge, the know-hows, the the techniques and then twist them into a new language, more in tune with our generation's ideals of beauty. And I think that's a designer's job to do.
That's interesting, coming from that insider sort of perspective of having learned the history and then breaking the rules.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's just about all we've got time for on the show. There's so much we could talk about, isn't there? Many thanks once again to our guest designer, Yiqing Yin.
Thank you.
It's been a great pleasure to have you. And of course, to our fashion critic, Jessica Michault. Thanks
fun.
for all your insights. Thanks, of course, to you for watching our show. Do keep in touch with us on our social networks, including our show's new Twitter account at Encore F24. We're going to leave you with more from Yiqing's back catalogue of beautiful designs. Enjoy those. We'll see you soon.
Like the beast, going out to hunt them, then back to feast. I consider you, I consider you, I consider